Grace to you. Contained within two brackets, the last verse in chapter 19 and verse 16 in chapter 20 of the Gospel of Matthew, are two statements. Many who are first will be last, and the last first. Within these two brackets, there's a beautiful description of what grace is all about. I'm going to read it for you. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. Now when he had agreed, underline and notice, when he had agreed with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And he went out about the third hour, that would be about 9 a.m., and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said to them, "You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right, underline and make a note of whatever is right, I will give you." So they went. Again, he went out about the 6th hour, that will be noon. He went about the 6th hour, and the 9th hour, that will be 3 p.m., and did likewise with another two groups of people. And about the 11th hour, that will be about 5 p.m., he went out and found others standing idle, and said to them, "Why have you been standing here idle all day?" They said to him, "Because no one hired us." He said to them, "You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right, you will receive." Okay, now, notice, before we carry on, notice a couple of things here. This is early morning. The Jewish day starts at 6 o'clock. It goes from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, and the night is from 6 o'clock in the evening to 6 o'clock the next morning. So early in the morning, that would be just after 6 in the morning, he goes out and he finds some laborers to work in his vineyard. So they're there, and he tells them to come and work in his vineyard, and he agrees for a denarius a day. Now, what would that be? That would be a contract, right? You come and work for me for a whole day, and I pay you 1 denarius a day, 1 denarius for the day, for the work. So that's a contract. It's a bilateral agreement whereby you give me something, I give you something. Okay. Then he goes out again at 9 a.m., at noon, at 12 a.m., and at 12, and at 3 p.m., and at 5 p.m., making a total of 5 groups of people. Now, interesting, we don't have time now, but interestingly, 5 is the number of grace. I challenge you, maybe one day we'll do a video on number 5, but 5 is the number of grace, and this embraces the understanding of grace, because the other 4 groups, he doesn't make an agreement with them, he gives them a promise. What does he say? He doesn't say, "I'm going to give you a denarius," he says, "I'm going to give you what is right." Now, you go and work for somebody, you want to know how much you earn, right? You don't want to be told, "I give you what is right." No, you want to know how much you're going to get. So these 4 groups of people work less, 3 hours less, 6 hours less, 9 hours less, and almost 12 hours less, because imagine he goes to fetch the last group at 5 p.m. and by the time they get to the vineyard, it's maybe 5:30. By the time the manager gives them the tools to work with and they start working, maybe it's 5:45. So basically what they do is they work for 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And they're going to get what is right. Now imagine, they get there and they ask the other people and they say, the first group that came and say, how much he's going to pay you? And they say, he's going to give us a denarius. So imagine the ones that arrive at 5:30, and they say, well, if they get 1 denarius for the whole day, most probably we're going to get 10 cents for our time. So I say, well, whatever, it's better than nothing. And they rely on the promise of the owner of the vineyard that says, "I'll give you what is right." And notice that is not what is right according to you, but it's what is right according to me. We will see that just now. So they said, the last group, by the way, is a typical group of people who have no quality, no ability, who have no value, no worth whatsoever, and that's the reason why the whole day they've been at the market and no one hired us. Why? No one hired us because most probably they could see that we couldn't do the job that they wanted to be done, so no one hired us. But the owner of the vineyard, which of course it's it's a figure, it's a shadow of the king of the kingdom of heaven, because Jesus starts with, for the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out. So obviously the kingdom of heaven is like a king, the king of the kingdom that goes out. So then he says, verse 8, so when evening had come, the owner of the vineyard said to his steward, call the laborers and give them their wages, beginning with the last to the first. Now, why would that be? Why does he say start with the last ones? And because he wants to expose their hearts, and he wants to teach us through the Word of God. He wants to teach us what it means to understand grace, to understand real grace, to understand grace, not religion, not nonsense, no hyper grace, no nothing of the nonsense. Grace, just simple, straightforward grace. Okay, grace is not a contract. Grace is a promise. So he says, start with the last ones, and then the first. So when those came who were hired about the 11th hour, they each received the denarius. You can imagine, yabba-dabba-doo, you know, they were jumping up and down because they received the denarius. But when the first came, they supposed that they would receive more. And they likewise received each a denarius. And when they received it, they complained against the landowner. I mean, we never committed adultery. We've never lied. We never cheated. We've always been good. And we've always gone to church. We've always paid our tithes. We've always done everything. And you give us the same as you give to this bunch of sinners, to this bunch of adulterers, to this bunch that they only got saved like 5 minutes ago. But the whole life they were a mess. And even in the 5 minutes, they already messed up some things anyway. And when they received it, they complained against the landowner, saying, "These last men have worked only 1 hour. And you made him equal to us, who have borne the burden of the heat and the heat of the day." See, that's what grace does. Grace levels the field. There is no higher and lower. It's 12 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, 5. No. Grace is the same for everybody. But he answered one of them. This is the landowner answering one of them and said, "Friend," which is a beautiful word, but we haven't got time for that, "I'm doing you no wrong. Did we not make an agreement? Did we not sign a contract whereby you would work and I would give you a denarius?" This is what the religion is all about. You behave, you get saved. You don't sin, God is happy. It's a contract. This and the, but watch what he says. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? In other words, did I do something wrong to you? I told you that you had to do that so that I could do this. Now, he says, take what is yours and go your way. These are the saddest, possibly the saddest words in the Bible. Take what is yours. You don't want to hear God say that. I don't want to hear God say that. I don't want to hear him say, take what is yours and go your way. I want him to hear, take what is Christ's and come my way. I don't want to hear, take what is yours and go your way. I got nothing to give. I got nothing to claim. I've got nothing. And each and every one of you who claim, who complain about against grace and against the message of grace, understand we got nothing to give, nothing to offer. The holiest man on this earth is a sinner like you and me. So he says, take what is yours and go your way. I wish to give to his last man the same as to you. I wish. That's God. He says, it's my kingdom, is my king. Is it not lawful for me to do what I wish with my own things? After all, salvation belongs to me. Or is your eye evil because I'm good? In other words, do you brand me as wrong because I extend grace to the sinner? No, but not, understand, not the sinner before salvation, but then you better behave, otherwise. No. Sin is universal. It's from the moment you were born to the moment you die, you're gonna sin. So don't think that there's a line, there's a subliminal line that cuts between what you sinned before and what you sin after. Sin is sin. You need your nature changed by the righteousness of Christ. So he says, or is your eye evil because I'm good? So the last will be first and the first last. And then he concludes with, for many are called, but few chosen, verse that doesn't appear in many manuscripts. But anyway, so he says, the bracket closes, the last will be first and the first will be last. What is he trying to say? He's trying to say, don't order this thing in your mind according to the way you think. This is not the way you think, this is the way I think. And if I want to give grace and life to a son of mine who has accepted me, who has messed up his life right until the end. It's my business. It's my business, not yours. So let me be good. Don't get upset because someone is apparently, in your own eyes, apparently is doing wrong, is sinning, or is doing whatever. He'll pay the consequences of his sin. Sin has got consequences on this earth. But if God wants to give him salvation because he accepted his offer of salvation, he accepted his offer of adoption 40 years ago, and then he's messed up his life, something untold. He's even gone as far as denying Christ. Oh, sorry, didn't Simon Peter do that? And yet, I believe, most probably Simon Peter is in heaven. So, what is the sin that will tip the scale so that you will not be saved anymore? Tell me, what is it? Continuous denial of Christ. Well, you have it right here. These people worked for 15 minutes, a half an hour of the whole day. So they got nothing to offer. They got nothing to, but Jesus is trying to explain. He's trying to say, let me tell you what grace is all about. Grace is something that's got nothing to do with the way you think, the way you value, the way you gauge, or the way you decide I should behave. Grace has all got to do with the love I have for my creatures. May God bless you.
El Evangelio.